My name is Patrick Deng and I've trained over 100,000 people in sales. In this video, I'm going to show you my top tips when it comes to generating leads with cold calling. So if you ever found yourself in a situation where you didn't know what to say on a call, you found yourself nervous and just not very confident, these tips are going to help you become so much more confident. You're going to know exactly what to do and what to say so that you can get your prospects to agree to another meeting and eventually close the deal and blow your quotas out of the water. Now, if you ever find yourself looking to generate more leads with cold calling and get in touch with the right decision makers, you definitely need to check out HubSpot's cold call templates. Now, these templates are going to be relevant for anyone who needs to do any type of cold calling. And the reason is because you might not know what to say or what to do on the call itself. So with these scripts, you're going to know exactly what to do in every situation, whether it's reaching a gatekeeper or getting some type of referral or following up. They have cold call templates for all these scenarios. My personal favorite section is actually the voicemail section because, as you know, most people don't actually pick up the phone when you try to call them, which means you have to leave them a very powerful and persuasive voicemail for them to either call you back or warm up the call so that when you call them again, they kind of remember who you are. This resource was made possible by HubSpot, our sponsors for today's video. Check out the link in the description and thank you, HubSpot. Getting into, some of the tips that we're going to be talking about in this video, the first key to making this all work is actually preparation is key. The reason why preparation is key is because a lot of times when you're new to cold calling, you think that someone should just give you a phone and be like, hey, just call people and try to sell my product or service, right? It doesn't really work that way. You have to know, number one, who you're trying to reach out to. Number two, what pain you're actually solving and how your product and solution solves that pain, right? It has to be very clear. Number three, you have to know exactly your script, right? You should get to a point where you don't even need the script in front of you. Now, if you're just starting out, you're going to need these scripts, right? But over time, you become so natural at it that your script will be there, but you won't even need it, right? It could be as simple as, hey, John, how's it going? This is Patrick from XYZ company. How you doing today? And then, I'm doing good. What's up? And then you kind of go into your whole script, right? The whole feeling that you need to create is like, you want to be very confident. You need to know what to say. You need to not waste another person's time. You need to actually respect their time. And then once you do all these things, they're more likely to hear what you have to say. It's never 100% guarantee hit rate, but by doing these things, you increase your odds of success, right? So when I used to do a lot of cold calling back at Oracle, one of the challenges I had is when I would take too long to get to the point, people would feel like I'm wasting my time. They'd be like, why are you calling me again? Who are you again? So once you make everything crystal clear and you make it clear what you want to do and how long the call is going to take, then they're going to be like, okay, sure, I'll give you like a couple minutes to see what you have to offer because, hey, you never know. There might be an opportunity that might come about. Second tip I have for you is you always want to have clear next steps, right? So from the beginning to the end of every cold call, you want to basically divide each part into sections, right? There's your opening line, you're setting upfront expectations, your discovery, and then it's going to be your close and set up for the next step. So let's kind of break this down step by step so you know what I'm saying. So the first one is, hey, John, how's it going? This is Patrick from XYZ company. How you doing today? He'll say, I'm doing good. So that's the first part, right? The next step is say, hey, listen, I'm calling because I saw that you're doing Instagram content and I'm sure you want more traffic to your website using Instagram because you're putting out so much content. I want to see if there's an opportunity for me to help you with that, generate more leads and help you generate more sales through Instagram. And I just want to take 5 minutes to see if it might make sense to work together. If it makes sense, great. If not, totally okay. Is that okay with you? And then John or whoever will say, okay, yeah, I'm doing Instagram. And if you think you can help, that sounds interesting because I'm terrible at it. Sure, I'll give you 5 minutes. That's pretty much how it goes for the second part, which is the upfront expectations or what they should expect on the call. From there, the next step, right, is really just discovery, meaning you just talk to them and ask questions to understand their pain points. So how long you been doing Instagram? Has it been working? What are the sales looking like? What are the biggest challenges? Do you have a content team? So that's when you get all the information about where they may be lacking and where you can actually slot yourself in to provide more value. Basically, in that particular situation, usually you're not closing them right there. You're setting another meeting. You're saying like, hey, listen, thanks for telling me all that stuff about your business. I really understand now that where you're trying to go and what your pain points are. I think I might be able to help. Do you mind if I share with you a little bit about what I can do? They'll say yes. Then you do the pitch. And then if they like it, you say, hey, listen, what I want to do next is set up actually another meeting where I'm going to take all the info that you gave me and I'm give you a clear step-by-step solution on exactly how I'm going to help. And then from there, if we find that it's a great fit to work together, great. Then we can kind of move forward from there. But if not, totally okay. So would it be okay if we schedule that next meeting? And they will say, sure, sounds great. And then you pick a time. Does next week Wednesday sound okay? 1 p.m.? Sure, sounds great, Patrick. And then the meeting is set. So you do want to make sure that the only goal of the cold call is actually just to keep moving through these steps of the cold call to eventually getting to the point where you qualify that person and move them to the next step, which is usually your presentation or your pitch, right? And then from there it's negotiation and close. So again, don't try to sell on that first call, which is leading it to the third point. Don't sell yet, right? So I know a lot of you guys as salespeople, especially if you're new, you want to sell, right? You're watching the Wolf of Wall Street, sell. But the reality is sales doesn't always work that way. In most industries, it actually doesn't. You want to take a more consultative approach where you're identifying problems and you're solving them, right? So when you're solving people's problems, it doesn't actually feel like you're selling anything. It just kind of feels like you're helping a friend or a consultant. And it just so happens that your product and services solves their problem. Again, don't try to sell anything yet. In fact, during that first cold call, you should only be talking about 20% of the time and listening 80% of the time, right? So if you find yourself talking too much, step back, ask more questions and let them speak, understand their problems, and only say things that are very impactful to solve their problems. And now the next tip I have for you is going to be to your tonality, right? So we got all the, tactics out of the way of like breaking it down step by step, getting them to the next steps of the call, not selling yet. Instead of taking a consultative approach, the next thing to make it all work is actually your tonality. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused because they're like, oh, like I follow the script step by step, but how come nobody wants to talk to me? How come no one buys anything? And the reason is because of how you speak to somebody. So it's the sound of your voice, how fast or slow you're speaking, how deep your voice is or how high your voice is. All these factors come together to subconsciously influence somebody's perception of you. You need to feel or look like you're someone that is trustworthy, can get the job done, competent, these kinds of things, right? And how do you convey those messages? Number one is knowing what you're talking about. Obviously, because of all the scripts, you should, know everything and not hesitate, not be like, right? Because that does not build confidence at all. And the next thing is tonality, of just controlling how you sound. If you want someone to feel relaxed, do you talk softly and smoothly? And you say, come on down and take a seat, right? Or are you rushing them? Or you're making them feel pressured? Or you're making them feel uncomfortable, right? These are very different feelings. So based on your tonality of how you speak, and you have to become very aware of this, it's going to influence whether or not someone likes you. And even if you don't follow all the sales techniques, step by step, natural born seller is someone who just like understands the feeling, understands how to speak to somebody the way they want to be spoken, and somehow the deals just magically happen, even if they don't know anything about the technicalities of selling. They just happen to be so good. And it's, a lot of times it's because of their tonality and their conviction in themselves and their product and services, right? So at the end of the day, besides all the techniques, being able to speak to someone confidently, calmly, with confidence, showing that you're competent, that's going to play a major factor in whether or not somebody wants to move forward with the deal. So that's everything we got to cover for some of the top cold calling tips. If you enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like, leave a comment below, letting me know what's the number one thing you learned, and I will see you in the next one.